Flick. I'm based at the University of Manchester, and I've been lucky to work with SDI and Muungano on many projects previous to this one. We are involved in this very complicated but very exciting project called the African Cities Research Consortium, or ACRC, where we're trying to bring together the politics, the bottom-up understanding of cities, and bringing stakeholders together in new ways to address challenges. And our entry point right now was just through a short workshop where we brought together all the different researchers and community leaders to sort of put our heads together and think about how we can understand these issues in new ways. And what was so exciting about being together is everyone brings a new perspective, and we really do think the team together can bring all sorts of new insights that will help us to understand Nairobi in a more cross-cutting kind of way, and also to develop solutions that respect the complex challenges and find new ways forward that bring both the politics, the grassroots, the professional, and all the other types of knowledge that we want to build on in this project. I mean, there's lots of things that are exciting about it. One is that we try to understand both urban inequalities and urban poverty, but also understanding the citywide challenges. So bringing a focus on low-income people, of course the majority, and it's most important that we be addressing their needs, but also trying to understand broader challenges across the city, how that's changing in different areas as the city expands. So it's kind of taking both a concern for disadvantaged people at the core, but also extending across the whole city. And with that, focus on both low income and the broader challenges to bring in new cross-sector understandings of these challenges, bringing in different types of knowledge from different types of researchers, different community and civil society groups. So I think the main thing we're trying to do is join up all these different understandings and then translate that into policy action, all of which is of course very ambitious, but we have an amazing team and we think we are very much up to that challenge.
Lynette Okoth. I work for LVCT Health as a senior technical advisor, but in the context of ACRC, I'll be the safeguarding lead, or I'll be steering the safeguarding agenda. My reflections for the 2 days, for me, it's good that we've managed to have several domains, or rather the entire community of ACRC in one setting. And why this is important, you realize that different domains within the ACRC setting have been addressing different objectives, different agendas. Of course, speaking to the larger ACRC objective, but they've been pulling different ways. So this forum comes as a good time because all communities or everyone in the team gets to understand what every other person does in the project. And so then that brings in an opportunity to leverage, an opportunity to synergize, and an opportunity to even identify any other steps that were not correctly done previously.
My name is Miriam Muthoni Maina, Dr. Miriam Muthoni Maina, and I'm currently based at the University of Manchester in Manchester, UK, but I'm originally from Kenya. So I'm a postdoctoral researcher. I've been hired to coordinate the housing domain work across the research cities, but also I'm going to do my own research on planning and urban development in Nairobi.
I think it's not necessarily a new approach, but I think the new thing is that now we are not doing this research independently. We are having several components addressing different things, but speaking to the common mwananchi. So that is a new thing. I believe if you look at literature, you might find pockets of what we are doing differently. But now this is, you're putting Wanjiko at the center and now looking at Wanjiko from different angles. So then you do not have one way of doing things, because that has been one drawback to any support given in informal settlements, because when you do it with one thinking without including many other components or social determinants that affect this single person, then you've missed it out. So for me, that's the unique thing, and that's why now and not later.
So yeah, African housing research is really, it's highlighting some of the issues we're already familiar with, especially as Nairobi residents and practitioners and researchers, which is how dynamic the housing market is. But at the same time, how government policy tries to change what's happening on the ground. Whether or not they're successful is obviously a question for investigation. So what is coming out of housing is the need, first of all, to connect all the housing sub-markets. So to not just look at housing as a one income group problem, but the fact that if a housing market is not working, then you can find intersections between low-income housing, informal settlement housing, high-income housing. If you only solve problems for one category and ignore another category, then you can see interventions for one group are taken over by another group. So the housing domain research is highlighting the need to look at housing as one connected market. It's very complex, but it's one connected market that needs to be addressed as a whole and not just in specific pockets. For example, upgrading, ignoring middle income, because what happens is middle income residents will come and occupy the houses and the solutions that are provided for low income. So if we provide solutions for one entire market ecosystem, then we believe some of these things can be improved. So that's some of the emerging issues. That's number one, but also quickly that there are a lot of solutions on the ground that do not need to be ignored all the time when we come to provide policy solutions. We can learn a lot from what's happening on the ground from local developers.
Moving forward, I think it's to embrace the consortium way of doing things for any project, be it donor support or anything. Look at things comprehensively and even try to look at or even identify many other stakeholders who can leverage, so that as we're looking at cities, as we're looking at serving the vulnerable, as you're looking at addressing any community needs, then you're looking at it as different components working together to address one common person. Then with that, we'll be able to address many other issues and leverage, because again, remember, no study, no research is cheap. So then when you leverage, then we are able to do better things using very little resources as compared to one single activity.
So our local uptake work will be led by PASGA and SDI and some of the Muungano federations. So we really are looking forward to actually not just finishing our research and then providing it to them to disseminate to stakeholders, but actually to work with them to shape the research agenda in a way that is constructive to uptake on the ground. So we are hoping to learn from SDI and PASGA and Muungano, how can we design research that is instrumental in driving uptake and connecting to all the stakeholders while we are doing the research, while we are collecting our data, while we are analyzing our data, and also when we are coming up with solutions. So our uptake connection is actually going to run along the whole chain of the research process, and hopefully we'll also learn a lot from the uptake team on how to connect our research and our theories and our ideas better to some of the realities on the ground, which is their strengths.